to be open to receive your blessings, to be open to receive your blessings. No more one shin puso, no more one shin puso, no more one shin.
Hello, you beautiful, wondrous dragon beings. I am extremely honored to be here with you today. It is the 2/22/2022 portal today. A day that doesn't come very often in time and space, at least not here on Earth. So let's spend it together. And it doesn't matter when you are tuning into this. Time is a construct and a limitation. So I want you to truly open yourself, open your mind and your heart and your soul to receive these frequencies whenever they come to you. This video is extremely important to me and to the planet and to the mother and to the feminine. On a day like today, I know a lot of people may believe it's just another day, but it really isn't. It's a day to anchor some magnificent and glorious codes of grace. And grace for me is the goddess, the mother, the maiden, the crone. It's the planet that holds us here, that holds us accountable, that holds us true through every single one of our fuck-ups or choices, through our entire journey. Good, bad, graceful, and ugly. It's the feminine force that pulses through each and every being on this planet. And I'm not just talking about women, I'm not just talking about humans. It's the divine feminine force that pulses through the land, that pulses through the trees, the animals, the creatures, the birds, that pulses through even the sun and everything. It's the divine feminine that we did get away from for a really long time on this planet. And that was, that was intentional. There was a distortion in femininity and the way the feminine operated for a time. It became unholy and unnatural, and therefore we shifted polarities, and the rest is history, And I'm not talking about history in books. I'm just talking about our lived history, the stories that have been in our cells for so long, because we've witnessed bloodshed and so many wars, endings, destruction, hatred, all of the things that you know in your soul, because you lived those epochs, you lived those cycles, you suffered. A lot of us suffered in those times. A lot of us were perpetrators also in many lifetimes. We perpetuated that imbalance and the control, the domination, these energies of a polar masculinity. No more divine masculinity. It became power hungry, take, polarized masculinity. And the reason why Grace is coming through today for this transmission is because she says the world is full of grace. The feminine, in its intactness, in its divinity, in its organic design, has never left this planet. We'll never leave this planet. We'll never leave our essence, our DNA, our soul, our spirit. And more than anything, I want to invite you now to close your eyes and see if you can tap into the frequency of grace, what it means to you, how it has shown up in your life, or perhaps if it hasn't yet, if you haven't been aware of the power of grace in your life yet, then now is a perfect time on this perfect day of grace to connect, to remember, to take your awareness there. And let's start with the heart, because grace absolutely lives in our hearts. Grace is the mother. Grace is the water, the softness, the ability to share, co-create, to be interdependent with the masculine, to be interdependent with each other. Humanity is interdependent. And in that same tone, humanity is interdependent on nature, on all of the other beings here, seen and unseen. We are interdependent on or with the elementals, with the spirits, with light and color and sound, subtle energies, with vibrations, and again with the pulse of the feminine, which for me is in the core of our earth. In the core of earth, there are crystalline caves, and crystalline waters, and epic lands and civilizations and places that we've gotten very far away from. We've had amnesia, we've forgotten how special these places are, how preserved, how divine, how balanced they are, and how they carry a frequency, how they maintain a frequency in the core of the earth that then gets to reach us wherever we are on the earth's surface. This is why we see beauty in the world. This is why a rose smells so sweet. This is why birthing a child or loving your mother or your father, your sister, brother, is possible. Because our divinely intelligent and divinely emotionally intelligent planet, Gaia Pachamama, has been holding a frequency of grace for us. And I want you to really feel it in your heart. See what grace wants to speak to you now. Because grace, you can see it as a being, as a deva, as a vibration. And that means she can transmit to you right now a message that's very personal to you. And on this portal day of 2/22/2022, it's time to invite grace into our reality, to give ourselves the permission to once again recalibrate, to reharmonize, to reattune to balance of the divine masculine and balance of the divine feminine. And so if you still happen to have your eyes closed, I truly invite you to receive as much as you can through your third eye of this frequency of grace, and also allow yourself to come back to receive the rest of the transmission, which is going to be more grounded and more, it's going to reach places in you, I know, that are very real for our human life, that are very tangible. They are very emotional. So let's go on that journey. Because my intention with this video was always to talk about grace and forgiveness. They go hand in hand. They're like a perfect marriage. The grace of the feminine, the grace of the goddess, the grace of a mother, or the grace of our planetary divine feminine mother, is what allows us to actually forgive. This planet has seen enough heartbreak, heartache, misalignment, pain, suffering, and she's ready for us to forgive all of that inside of us and also outside of us, in the collective. Because if we do not forgive, if we do not truly, truly release and let go of those timelines, of those stories, if we don't believe we're worthy enough to vibrate in a frequency of grace, our life will not advance. It will not unfold in the ways that this planet is shifting us into. Some beings, some humans are going to be left behind. That is a fact. Their reality, their world will look darker and scarier and more confusing and more disconnected than ever. But for those of us that invite grace in, our world will look brighter, truer, more harmonious, more loving, more creative, more pleasurable, more aligned. more fantastical. I literally can go on and on and on. So which timeline do you want to be on? So which reality are you feeding? Are you feeding the reality of control, of manipulation, of imbalance, pain and suffering? Or are you feeding the reality of flowing rivers of cacao, plants and trees and animals speaking to you, higher dimensional beings healing you, teaching you, sharing, storytelling with you, helping you remember Earth's history, helping you remember your purpose? The reality where ascended masters are not separate from you. They are fractals of you, because you realize that you are source, you are light, you are God, you are eternal, and so are they. And at some point we go back into origin, into source, creation. We all come from the same heartbeat. We all come from the love frequency. We're not separate from these beings that we've maybe put on a pedestal and thought were unattainable, or thought that the type of life that they lived was so special and untouchable. And that's why we venerate them, and that's why they hold such a place in this earth's story. And I'm talking about divine feminine, divine masculine, masters. Any one of you already has beings that have popped into your head. Saint Germain is coming in, Yeshua, Miriam, Magdalene, QUAN, the archangels, Archangel Gabriel, Archangel Michael, Archangel Raphael of the Emerald Heart. So many beings, you know, you have the ones that are true for you, that are your allies, that have been guiding you, that have been working with you, that have been clearing, communicating with you in all realms, in the dream state, in the waking state, and every realm in between there. Because that's what they came here to do. Originally, gridding light here, gridding frequencies like the frequency of grace, or I should say anchoring frequencies here, because I believe our planet was born of grace. And so she carries that frequency at her core. And then in times where all of the other compounding energies and storylines that were unfolding, and other beings that came here, and she was holding that frequency, but the earth was changing and shifting, and the imbalance, you know, that it teeter-tottered in one polarity. Beings of light came to anchor more grace, to connect to her core of grace, and the grace that comes straight from creation, from God's source, to help bring that teeter a little bit more in the opposite direction. And all of this to say, again, what are we forgiving? And so I bring you back to the word forgiveness, the frequency of forgiveness. Why should we forgive? I know some of you are thinking, I'm great. I have nothing left to forgive. I have no one left to forgive. And if that's truly how you feel, I honor that truth. But know that that can shift in a blink, in a heartbeat. You can be reminded, you can become aware of the fact that there is still space in your heart that is shadowed, that is in pain and that wants a clearing, that wants the space, that forgiveness will give you. And then when you make space, new things come in. Maybe moving forward, when you're already working with grace and embodying grace and listening to the planet and seeing how she wants to co-create with you from the frequency of grace, then you allow more space for frequencies like inner union, inner alchemy, or perhaps divine union with another. So the alchemical marriage between you and another, between a divine feminine energy and a divine masculine energy. Others of you are going to step into leadership. You're going to become guides. You're going to become way showers. You're going to become embodied, joyful, trustworthy, courageous beings on this planet who have absolutely no trouble speaking from grace, loving from grace, teaching from grace, even just vibrating, being in your beingness, in your essence, cooking, singing, dancing, lovemaking, writing, creating, all of the things that we can do here, playing, grid working, raising children, living in community, but all from grace. I'm feeling like a lot of the energy that's coming in today isn't really a spoken energy. I can use words, I can describe what I feel and what I know to be true, but grace just is. The divine feminine just is. So perhaps I want you to just tune in to the beingness, to this crystal, to the sunshine, to the frequency of this portal, because there is a lot that I cannot say, or I can say, but there's so much more in you. There's so much more that you know. And what I'm feeling as part of the invitation is that when this video is complete, you might want to go on a journey with silence. And in that silence, for however long you are able to maintain it, for however long it feels true and good to maintain it, to journal after that and to write a letter of forgiveness. And this letter, first and foremost, is going to say something like, I have invited grace into every cell of my being, into my field, into my awareness, into my all. And therefore, today, consciously, I choose to forgive. I choose to embody forgiveness today. And then you describe the people in your life that you're ready to forgive. And for a lot of us, I'm feeling like it's mother and father, first and foremost. For others, it's our ex-partners that we had beautiful chapters with, but you know, there was a core wounding that was left there when it ended. Other of us, it's women. It's friends that we've departed from. It's the timelines that split, especially if you started moving more and more into your truth. You lost friends, you lost allies, jealousies came up, a lot of hurt and pain, a lot of misunderstandings, a lot of confusion, miscommunication, but also mostly and mainly the universe was creating space for you. Gaia was creating space for you by removing these people from your life, men, women, family members, strangers, bosses, neighbors. Literally, the list can be short or long, and there's absolutely no judgment if you have a long list, and it's absolutely perfect if you have a short list. But every single one of you watching this video should write something down on this paper. And if there's nobody that you can think of that you want to forgive, then start with yourself. When you forgive yourself, you actually open the floodgates to see and remember all of the other threads that, again, want to be completed. Forgiveness is also an energy of completion. It's an energy that there's no judgment involved. To forgive creates space for greater heart expansion. And I want to share that this video is connected to the Sovereign Woman recipe. So if you decide after this video to be in silence, to write the letter of forgiveness, feel free to make yourself a cup of cacao, maybe even a cauldron of cacao. Maybe a little chalice is too small. Maybe you actually want a big old cup, a big old jug, a pitcher of the recipe, the Sovereign Woman. I feel like she wants to go very deep with you. This is maybe, in this Trinity, this is the turning point. This is the turning point of you deciding that nothing can stand in your way anymore. Not even yourself. Not even history. And I feel like forgiveness is the key. Forgiveness is the remaining piece of the puzzle for a lot of us that will set us free. You don't need anybody's permission to forgive. And you don't need to contact anybody to forgive. For a lot of us, it's better if we forgive from a true heart frequency and call it completion. And these people who are written down in this letter, or who are coming to mind, who you're going to be thinking of while you're drinking this big cup of cacao, they're going to feel also like they're getting some of their energy back, some of their life force back. They're going to feel like space is being made in them. They might be triggered also because they might feel a true loss. Because when we complete, it's a true ending. It's a true ending. But it's an ending with love. And it's an ending that is holy and is sacred and is blessed by the gods and the goddesses and by Source and by the serpent and the dragons. So let's talk about the dragons and the serpents as we begin to close out the energy of this portal. I hope you can actually feel that there's a lot moving, there's a lot being transmitted beyond the words. Most of it's going to happen in your ritual. in your grace and forgiveness ritual. And I'll do a little write-up. I'll do a little write-up that gives you the steps if you're willing to do this sacred ritual. I'm not calling it any, it's not the energy of cutting. You know, a lot of people talk about cord cutting. To me, you know, that's a beautiful practice, but this is more of the water energy. This is more of a release and a flow and a renewal. Because also when we complete, we become anew. If you feel to close your eyes for this part, I think the dragons and the serpents, they want to actually transmit some frequencies and some messages that will help you open up, truly open up the heart for your ritual later on. So close your eyes now, if it feels good. Take a few deep breaths. Really deep one this time. And the dragons would love for you to open yourself to a baptism on this day. Just open yourself to receiving water inside, to receiving water in your heart, water in your throat, in your third eye, on your crown, solar plexus, sacral, and root. Also your hands, also your feet. May the grace of the divine feminine dragons of this planet, the dragons in the core of Earth, the dragons in the crystalline caves, in the crystalline waters, inside of the core of Gaia, Pachamama. May these dragons serve as guardians, keepers, teachers and guides, empowering frequencies, loving frequencies, honest and truthful frequencies that are going to accompany you into your divine grace and forgiveness ritual. May you drink from the rivers of grace. May you bathe in the waterfalls of grace today. May you remember that your waters are full of grace, inside and out. Your tears are powered by grace. Your fluids, when you make love, are empowered by grace. And the octave that you are shifting into is the octave of divine feminine grace. Welcome to this time-space continuum. You are worthy of it. You are so, so worthy of it. All you have to do is believe. Blessing you, loving you. I'm going to leave some music here to just ease you out of the meditative state. Blessing you from Lake ATITLAN.
Namo Quan Shi INFUSED. Namo Quan Shi INFUSED. This world is filled with suffering, yet you, our Savioress, offer us solace. Mother of compassion, Goddess of mercy. Mother of compassion,